Hey guys, welcome back to the Read Receipts. Today is a really fun minisode. We are talking about hype. Overhype, underhyped, properly hyped, all the hype.
The Goldilocks of hype.
I think the whole reason why we even have to have this conversation is that Book Talk is just like one big hype platform. It's either going on and on and on about a book or it's trashing a book. Like it's a whole beast of, and maybe that's necessary in the book talk realm, but man, it can be pretty exhausting as someone who's trying to navigate and read books and have fun.
Agreed. Also, a little disclaimer, these are just our opinions. So if I'm like so scared, I'm like, this is overhyped and it's gonna be like someone's favorite book. But what's Jaclyn? Oh, it's my opinion. When she's like screaming. That's my opinion.
Yeah, if you're overly sensitive, I think you should probably find another podcast to listen to.
But also, I feel like I'm right. I feel like everyone's going to agree with this. Hopefully.
Probably. I feel like for the majority, they usually do. Yeah. And it's a good time.
And it's okay if you don't agree with me 110%, because just wait, you'll agree with me on something else. But that being said,
catch me on the next one.
We'll realign later, okay? Oh, okay. So now I'm scared. Like, where do we start? Do we start like? Do we go right into the overhyped, or do we start? Do we ease our way in? You know.
Let's have a little foreplay. Let's do properly hyped books that have been really talked about on Book Talk that we all read and really loved and thought the hype was perfectly appropriate.
Ooh, okay, I'll start. I thought that Powerless was one that I felt really, not only did it deserve the hype, but that I didn't find it was like being mismarketed. Like, I feel like I see that happens a lot with fantasy books. Like, oh, you read this, you'll love this. And I read it, and everything that I was excited about, I felt like was in the book. And it delivered. I was quite happy with that one.
That was like a good, proper like fantasy book. Like, it delivered everything you want in a fantasy book. It was just like a cozy, feel-good fantasy. As much as a feel-good fantasy could be. Like, oh, she stabbed someone? Warm and cozy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it properly checked off a lot of boxes. I appreciated that it wasn't overly steamy. I had a good time. Amazing.
Yeah. All right, what's next?
My stomach. Food, that's what's next.
I also have fantasy book. I think it's magic. I don't know. Divine Rivals. I liked it.
Okay, I still haven't read Divine Rivals.
Ooh.
I know. Crazy.
Are you afraid of the hype? Or is
I
that
am.
what's holding you back?
The hype is what's holding me back. So, Devon, tell me why I should read it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was on my shelf for a while, and I was like, I want fantasy. I want I think the setting they caught me, because it's 1920s wartime, but mixed with fantasy and magic, and I don't know. I think I probably saw an aesthetic video on TikTok. It was like, that's the next one. But it was just really good and not too deep, which I enjoyed.
I thought it was really unexpected. Everything that I thought everyone was marketing it well. I think the plot, I didn't see a lot of things coming, and the pacing was different. The magic system is different than anything so it's unique, which, again, sometimes you want that cozy, comforting, I've read a version of this, but this is a new flavor of it. I like it. I don't know that I can really pick another book, and I'm glad people aren't trying to compare. They were for a minute. Everyone was putting, if you liked Fourth Wing, read Divine Rivals, and I think that is a terrible...
I don't see it at all.
Yeah, I don't get that.
only if you're saying this is a popular book that is good. That's the only time I'm like, okay, that makes sense. Or a book that was hyped and is worth the hype. But the two are not close. But yeah, I can't think of another book to be like, if you read this, you'll love Divine Rivals, because I think it's pretty unique. So
is it maybe just like the same audience is gonna like both books? Not that they're similar, but like if you liked this,
I don't think so.
I don't think that's a
I don't think it's anything like it.
I don't even know how to like. Huh.
No, I think it's like, it's a good popular book. Like popular books, I think people always like hate on, and I guess it comes with hype, like, oh, it's popular, and like, you don't want to, just because it's popular doesn't mean you have to like it. No, but there's a reason that it's popular, right? There's a reason why Fourth Room is popular. There's a reason why these books are popular, because there is something about them that is either unique or like really good or like really catchy. And I think that's kind of the idea there. It's like, if you are looking for something that's going to get you back into something or get you excited about reading, like, it's probably like a book like this.
Gotcha.
That's how I put it.
Well, I have no reason to have not started it. I really don't, and I want to read it. Maybe I'll read it this week.
I was like,
Probably
how
not.
realistic is that? Let's set some obtainable goals.
Not realistic at all.
That's my favorite thing
my
to say,
gosh.
though. I'll start it this week.
I'll start it this week. I'll start it next business day. One that I thought was properly hyped was One Dark Window. And I think it is my favorite read of last year and this year combined. We're only in March. I'm like so obsessed with it. I haven't gone a day without thinking about it. Like the magic system. I don't know. I think I love tarot card magic systems so much more than I ever thought I would. And it's just so, I love it.
I read it.
It was really dark and the themes were like, I liked that. It felt, I think it, honestly, I'd put it in that category with like, here we go. If you liked Divine Rivals, you might like One Dark Window. Here we go. I'm gonna start getting people mad by making, if you like this, then read this suggestions. But when it comes to like a kind of a dark theme and like a different magic system, like that's what I liked about Divine Rivals, is the magic system is like something I hadn't really thought of or seen before. And One Dark Window, definitely, I'm like, this is something new. And I couldn't have guessed where we were headed. So I do love that. That book definitely got me guessing. So Devon,
you said you haven't. Yeah, why haven't you read it?
Whoa. Okay, I have to confess, I like read it. Not read it. I read like the first 2 pages of it a while ago, and I got intimidated, and I put it down and never looked back. I was so scared.
What?
She was like walking down a path, and there was like a dark void, and like I was like, I think this is too heavy for what I needed at the moment. I don't know what I just finished reading, but like I finished a fantasy book, and I picked that up, and I was like, this seems heavy, and like I would really have to pay attention. So I switched to something lighter.
It is a dark fantasy, a lot of darker elements. But that's, yes, agree. But that I'm shocked that you put it, well, I guess if you're not in the mood for it, I get it. But those first couple pages, the first chapter, or the prologue, literally, I gasped out loud at the end of the prologue or first chapter, whichever it is. And I couldn't put it down from there. I was sitting in bed with Eddie, and I audibly gasped, and I was like, I have not had such a guttural reaction to a book like this in so long. And he was like looking at me like I'm a total nut job. And I was like, Eddie, I don't think you understand. Like, I think this book is about to become my entire personality, and I'm like 5 pages in.
It was like too good for like what I wanted. So
I get that
now.
Yeah, and then you know what? I think that goes back to why I probably haven't picked up Divine Rivals, because I'm like, oh, it's going to be too good. Like, I'm not worthy.
Yeah.
I feel like they're good for like different reasons. Like Divine Rivals was just like fun to read. Not too,
yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's good to know, though. If it's not too heavy, then that's the kind of book I need right now. For sure.
Let's talk about something that's underhyped. That you've read, that you think you haven't heard a lot about it, but you think people should be talking about it more.
Okay, define under. So, does it have to be like an actually good book? Can it be like trash TV book, like something that probably doesn't deserve a large hype, but it doesn't have any hype, and I think it should. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that the definition is wide. Like underhyped means like no one's really talking about this, but I feel like they should be. We didn't specify because it was
like it was a 5-star read in my heart. So the book is
Let's hear it.
The Dollhouse. Actually, I don't think that's true. The book
Isn't it called Dollface?
Oh, I don't. It's not even on my shelf because I lent it out to a friend because I was like, you need to read this. Dollface by. Oh no, where's my phone? I'm like, you guys need to read this book. What's the title? Who's the author?
It's so
doesn't have the title, doesn't have the author, doesn't have the plot.
No idea. So good. You just have to trust me on that one.
It's so underhyped. You yourself do not know anything about it.
Okay. It doesn't even show up when I type it in. It's called Dollface. It doesn't show up when I type it into Goodreads. Here it goes. Okay. Dollface by Renee Rosen. It only has 400 reviews on Goodreads. However, I think this is an amazing book. And let me tell you why. So it's like...
Okay.
It's been a while. I read it a while ago. But I just remember loving it. And I got it at Barnes & Noble in the sale rack. And I remember thinking, how could this be 50% off? Like, Barnes & Noble, they're losing money on this one because this is prime. So the story is you have a girl who moves to New York. It's 1920s. And it's a love triangle between one guy who's in a gang, like the mafia, and then another guy who's in a separate gang, like rival gangs. And she has a thing with both. And in the 1920s, or at least this is in the story, you're not cheating on people. Like, your girls are with no one unless there's a ring on it. So when you date, you just constantly date men until someone proposes. And then it's like, okay, well, that's him. So she's dating these men, and it's kind of just like, who's gonna propose first situation. And then I don't know. It's just crazy. It's very like mob wife situations. Like she's friends with all the other mafia women who are like the girlfriends and wives. I just thought it was a fantastic book.
I don't know.
5 stars. It's like trash, Sopranos type of, but like it's not the Sopranos. I don't know.
It sounds fun.
I think we should all just go out and read it. And yeah,
done. Amazing.
On board.
That's all.
What about you, Jaclyn?
Okay, so I would say underhyped. Okay, so I think I don't know if it's you'll have heard of it, but I feel like I keep finding people that have not read it, so I'm kind of wondering why. But Out on a Limb, by Hannah Bonham Young. I know it's popular enough that she's got signed on. She's got several more, but like every time I want to talk to somebody about it, I keep running into people who haven't read it, and I absolutely adored it. It was on Kindle Unlimited. I'm pretty sure it's not anymore, and maybe that's part of it. But again, it's a book that I can't believe I'm recommending because it's got the pregnancy trope in it. But that author, like I devoured it. I read it so fast, and I feel like I've heard a few people that like champion it and talk about it all the time, and then not enough. I want everyone to be talking about it or have read it. And Caity is looking like, couldn't be me. Get that pregnancy trope right on.
Oh my god. No, you cut out there for a second.
I was?
No, it's nothing. You were frozen for a second. So I have no qualms, or maybe one. I think it's the pregnancy trope. I didn't realize it was in there at first. And despite many really, 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 really good reviews of people that I trust their opinions wholeheartedly on this book, I don't know if I'm going to read it anytime soon.
What's it about?
So maybe I was like, oh, maybe I do have a qualm with it.
No qualms, no, but not for me.
Exactly.
It's okay. So it's like it's a one night stand situation turned
pregnancy.
Like, I don't know. I think that's probably pretty common.
Yeah, gotcha.
But there's there's a lot more layers to it in terms of both of them have a disability. And then there's this whole situation of like falling in love when you're trying not to. And like, I don't know, there's something about either the way she writes these characters or the characters themselves that kind of goes above, right? Like, I think if someone else wrote this same story, I don't know that I would be that excited about it or attached to those characters. But it's definitely her writing style that makes it better, which I don't know. Try it, read it. I'm done trying to convince you guys over it. It's good though. I'm actually excited to read another one of her books so I can see if, like, you know, without a pregnancy trope, if I'm, you know, like how much more I might like it if you take that away.
Yeah. What else has she written? There's
Next
another one.
of Kin is the one that just came out, and then there's another one that's coming out.
Was Out on a Limb her debut novel?
You know, I believe so. At least it's the one that like most people found her from. But she might have written some other, you know, like they just never really kind of took off. But yeah, she has like 3 right now that we know about. So
gotcha. Well, I don't have a single one for this category, so let's move over to overhyped.
Okay, cool. Why not?
You're like, you didn't do your homework. Sick.
Fine. Well, then you start with overhyped. Then you be the first.
Okay, I will start with overhyped. This one, okay. I want to say like 80% of this book I really liked. Where it became too much for me was the spice, and for that reason, knowing how the spice happened and what happened in the spice scene ruined the book for me. And to hear people talk about it now after they've read it and being so excited, it was not great. I don't know how. Like, I don't want. Yeah, because I was like, oh, I love these characters. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me mention the book title. Love Theoretically by Allie Hazelwood.
Okay.
Have you guys read?
Is that the pink-haired girl on the cover?
That is such a great question.
Thank
you. And I don't have the answer for you at all. I know the cover is very similar to Love Hypothesis. I think this one has yellow on the cover. Speaking of yellow books, I think it's yellow. I don't think she has pink hair because she doesn't have pink hair in the book. That could be another one. Anyways, I really liked the couple, and just like Love Hypothesis, because it's in the same woman in STEM realm, and I was like, love. Very smart gal, very smart man. They're kind of quirky, just like in Love Hypothesis. And then the scene of them actually getting intimate was like, I'm gonna just die. And it really was like, I'm done with this book. And so for that reason, hearing everyone talk about it after, I mean, like, oh my God, you must read this book. Like, the spice is like people talking about the spice being amazing.
Is it a specific thing that no comment happened in that spice? Like, or just the right, like what?
It was like,
or can you even say without?
I don't even want to say, because it was just so awkward. And like, there was a lot of like talking through things. that probably shouldn't have been talked about. I don't know. It wasn't for me. And if like that was how a man like approached me, it would be a hard pass.
I understand that.
All right, valid.
So yeah, that was it. I'm gonna go die now.
No, I mean, I don't even think that was. Yeah, that was bad. That wasn't bad. I'm not like. I actually think I meant to read it and I forgot about it. So you haven't offended me, and now I might just.
I think that's a good thing. Like you like what you like, and like some things are just not for you. So I feel like that's a reasonable.
Yeah, and it's like I feel like the book could have ended like at the halfway point, and I was happy where it ended, where it was. Like everybody was fine and dandy, everything was turning out perfectly, and then it was like, actually, we have a whole second plot to this. And I was like, oh. Yeah, so
that's me.
I want to race car. It's my date. Is NASCAR?
Yeah, my date.
Is NASCAR in town?
So sorry.
Right. Oh. Okay. My overhyped book is one that I see a lot of people saying they enjoyed. And they were like going goo gaga over the characters. And I personally thought it wasn't very well written. And I felt like they did a bunch of things, which is my biggest pet peeve, for shock value. So there's like a lot of moments that you see people talking about in the book that are like, oh my God. But I felt like the book itself didn't have any other substance, and that is Butcher in the Block.
You finished the book.
I did. And it wasn't that hard to finish. Like, I still got through it. But I kept thinking, like, what, if people really like this?
Hold on, pause. You like, it wasn't that hard to finish. Like, it's so hard to finish a book. Like, you were just reading it. You were reading that in October. Okay.
Oh, I finished it in like last year. Like, I finished it a long time ago. I didn't just recently finish this book. It's just been on my mind a lot because I feel like people are still talking about it. Like, if it would have died down and that was the last we heard of it, then I would have been like, okay, properly hyped. But now I'm starting to feel like it's overhyped because I'm like, why are you guys still talking about this? Like, it wasn't.
It had a resurgence.
It really did. And people are like requesting it in the bookstore. And like, I don't know, to me, it just, the love story was weird. Like, I mean, I don't know. It felt like it's not like I'm trying to be careful of what I'm trying to say. I just don't get. It reminded me of, it was better than Den of Vipers, of course. But in
high praise.
Not hard to be.
High praise. But like the way that you're like, why is this happening? And like, why are we happy about this? And like, why are we? So yeah, maybe it just wasn't for me. But I did finish it, and I've moved on, but I'm just surprised that everyone else is still talking about it.
Yeah, I've seen it. There's been a huge resurgence of it in the last like month, or I guess it was really around Valentine's Day. So a couple weeks ago, like everybody and their mom was reading it, and I was like, moms should not be reading this. But here we are. Everyone's reading it. Everyone's loving it. And from what you told us, and again, I was getting many of people saying, Caity, you must read this book. And I was like, I don't think I will. I don't think I want to. I still don't think I will or want to. But hearing that the writing is subpar is interesting.
I mean, it'd be someone who, like, in the fanfic realm might be, like, mid-grade. You know what I mean? Like, they wouldn't be, because fanfics can be very, very poorly written, because they're not published. They don't need to be good. But it wouldn't be one that I'd be like, man, this should be published if I read it as a fanfic, which it does give fanfic, and I guess I'm being derogatory when I say it gives fanfic. But, yeah, no. I think the premise was what was, like, she's, like, shock and awe, right? 2 serial killers fall in love, and like what would be crazy about that, and like then maybe people who read like those kinds of things, like the same thing, the reason why I won't pick up most of H.G. Carlton's books and things like that is like people like to talk about all the crazy shit that goes on in those books, and like that's not enough for me. Like I don't don't need to be like shocked like that. I don't need to be like, oh my god.
Apparently, someone thinks otherwise.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
Oh my god. Yeah. I don't know. I can enjoy a book that has like reading or writing sometimes.
That reminds me of another book that I feel like deserves more hype, even though it is kind of popular, the Mindfuck series. I think I've talked about it before, but that's like a serial killer. The girl is a serial killer. The guy's in the FBI, whatever. But that one was good. So another, if you like this book, you're like this book. However, not the other way around.
I don't.
It's a one-way street, that one.
Don't
if you like what's the Blackbird one called? Yeah.
Butcher and the
Blackbird, you're like the Mindfuck series. If you like the Mindfuck series, you might not like Butcher and the Blackbird.
I think you're right. Yeah. I think that's a very fair thing. But plus, isn't he like...
Yeah, she's like a serial killer and he's on her case. Yeah.
It's like cat and mouse. These ones, they're literally just both serial killers. And like maybe
yeah,
that's
it's like...
the thing. So unrealistic. Did you guys meet on like the serial killer dating app or something? Like what? I don't like it. Anyway. Let's hear... Devon's still over here trying to make book recommendations. Let's hear your...
So my overhyped goes hand in hand with my perfect hypeness. Ruthless Vows. I am struggling to get through. I'm still almost there.
I am so glad you brought that up. Because honestly, at the bottom of my notes, I put like, can we just like please talk about what I'm going to call the sequel slump, because both of books that you guys have mentioned in your like perfectly hyped, I'm having trouble on the sequels. Ruthless Vows and what's one dark Two Twisted Crowns.
Two Twisted Crowns.
I'm struggling on.
I heard opposite.
Just sequels in general right now.
I've heard Twisted Crowns is favorited over One Dark Window.
The Two Twisted Crowns has more focus on another couple, and I really like them. So I can see how someone would say that they like Two Twisted Crowns more.
I do really like the couple in the second one, but I felt like the story, I was still so involved in the couple in the first that I just I think once I get a little further, do you know when you have to get to a certain point in a book? Yeah. I just like can't get past, I need to keep reading.
So that's the thing with this one. It feels like there's such a drop off because of how the first one ends, and like you're assuming that it's gonna pick up right back off. We're gonna solve the issue like right away and get back to that story, and you don't. So it takes a little bit. So I can see how you're kind of feeling the slump on that.
Like getting back in, and then same thing with Ruthless Vows. Like I feel like I just got to get to a certain, like, I wish somebody would literally tell me. Like, I wish there was, like, a sequel slump tracker of, like, look, just hang in there.
Yeah, like this page.
Here. Like, the way we all talk about the ACOTAR series. Like, we're like, just get through this, and then everything else is high flying. Like, I wish there was, like, literally, like, I knew which chapter we were going to, because I know it's coming. Like, I know I'm probably going to, when I finish the book, both of these books, I'm going to be so happy for it. But for some reason, I guess it's just, like, you have to, some books just drop off. Like they leave off on such like a high note, and then they have to slow down to like pick back up. Yeah, and my attention span sometimes.
I'm like far into Ruthless Vows though, and it still has not picked up. Like I like pick it up, I read a few pages, and then I read another book, and I pick it up, read a few pages, read another book, because like I want to get through it because I'm basically almost done by now. But I don't know. It's just I think it's a lot more focused on the magic and the war and like the logistics of it all, because we're closing up, like it's the last book of the duology, but I kind of just like the fun and like romance and everything in the first book.
Is it following the same couple in the second book? See, I think sometimes when that happens, and I'm assuming in the first one they get together, they have a lovely moment where they come together, like any good romance book. And sometimes when that like the second book starts, there's always like a backpedaling or something has to happen, and that's always so
that's literally exactly because I'm like and it's exactly taking just so long. Like I've lost interest at this point.
Because it's like the ending of Divine Rivals is one of the better endings of a book. I like by the end I was so hooked, and it was really the ending that got me so hooked. And then it was like started back over again.
First book has like a little bit of like the wars because of like the gods, and you have a little bit in there, and that's kind of it. Second book dives heavily into the gods, and I'm like, I don't think I care. Like.
A little late.
Yeah, which I like, game, right? But in a way, it's making me disinterested now. Like, I like that she didn't go into all of it in the first book. Like, it was really nice. But I don't know. Maybe it's just a mood thing. Like, I'm not in the mood to read that right now.
No, well, it's not just you. So I feel good. Like, sometimes I as much as I'm like, do you read what you like, sometimes I do feel like weirdly left out when someone else is like, oh my god, what are you talking about? I'm not experiencing the same thing. So I feel pretty seen right now. I am going to push through on both. I am going to finish them. I don't know if it's the mood matching up. I don't know if it's like I told you guys earlier, I'm reading like so many books right now. I need to finish something.
One that I'm definitely not going to read the sequel just based on your input is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I literally loved the first one. I thought it was so good. Like, I had such a good time reading it. And then you guys were like, just don't read the second one. And it's like killing me because I want to know what happens next. But I trust you guys because I'm like, I could see how this would go a little off the rails. So I'm just going to leave it and just not read
it. It's one, it sucks because the first book ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, like what's going to happen. And I just know everything ends up where it should. Their happily ever after does come. It comes with some trial and tribulations, but it does end up happening. Just the trial and tribulations along the way make no sense and probably should have been shelved. So, and I hate to say that because I thought it was one of the better books that I read last year, or the first one, The Serpents and the Wings, and it was one of the better books that I read last year. I thought it was absolutely incredible. I love Carissa's writing. I love her other series, which if you guys have not read it, or if anyone listening hasn't read it, definitely give it
What's the
a
other
go
series?
Because it's so good. The what is it called? The Daughter of No Worlds. Yeah. And I think the world building is really good. The characters are really incredible. It's very fantasy, dark fantasy almost. Very good though. Very good. And it's 3 books, not 2. But I believe they're also on Kindle Unlimited. So free.
I still don't have Kindle Unlimited.
Slay.
So, but
I was almost thinking I was going to cancel it, and then I go to hit the button to cancel, and I'm like, God, what if that next book is on Kindle Unlimited?
Is it true though? If you cancel your subscription, all the books that you got for free go away?
Yeah, it's like renting.
That just, I don't know. I'm like a hoarder, and I'm like, I need it with me forever.
Well, here's the thing. I end up always buying the physical copy of every book that is on Kindle Unlimited. So I'm really not saving any money whatsoever. I'm just throwing it out the window at this point. But it's like a little reward, and for that reason, I will continue.
We're throwing the money at the authors. It's not out the window. Take our money.
Thank you so much. That is so true. We support our authors. I'm going to support you on Kindle so that you become number 1 in the Kindle store. I'm going to go to the bookstore and buy a physical copy. I am going to post about it on the Instagrams and the TikToks and the YouTubes so that you can get more support and more readers. Like, you know what? Support our authors, okay?
That's what life's about. That's my main goal in life.
Yes. The best spin I've heard. That's the best spin I've ever heard on overconsumption.
It's not about me. It is not about me.
No.
It's from you.
No. It never will be. It never was.
And I think that's the end of this episode. So please, everyone go out there. The authors you love, support them. Buy every version, every special edition. Yeah. And
then buy one
buy
for
their
a friend.
sequel and then don't read it. But do it.
No, don't recommend it by any means.
But you can buy it.
Buy it.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.